y'all, it's me, Amanda, and today I am going to update you on my stitching. Finally, a Stitchy update. I wanted to wait long enough until I actually had some stuff to show you guys because really, I'm not a monogamous stitcher, but like, I do focus on the same piece for quite a while, so there's not as much to show as a result. Now let's get started. First thing I do have a finish. I have this cute little ornament that I finally finished for Robin, my son. Now, I'm laughing because, I didn't actually finish it last year. But who cares? I can do what I want, right? Like, if I want to backdate my stitching, I can backdate my stitching. That came from the 2023 Just Cross Stitch Ornament Edition. Unfortunately, I don't remember who the designer is right now. I will put it on the screen so you guys can know. It's just done on an 18 count Aida. I also started another ornament finally for my daughter. Now I'll show you this one. Where is it? So this one is actually, I'll show you what this is. I got this as a freebie at the New England Cross Stitch Retreat. So as you can see, it was originally a little ornament kit. Now, I am having to do my own colors because it doesn't tell you actual DMC on the back. It just tells you generally what color it's supposed to be because, again, it was a kit. And there were no kitted materials left that I could find. I am stitching this on an 18 count navy Aida. And, well, I'll just show it to you. So I'm working on the Christmas tree. Honestly, this is so small. I should have been able to finish it, but, you know, life got in the way and I just wasn't able to stitch as much on it as I would have liked. I'm not crazy about the color I picked for the light green. I think it's a little too yellow, to be honest. But I don't know if I actually want to bother ripping it out. Like, I'm a lazy stitcher for a reason, and like, even though it's not, you know, that much stitching, I just have such a limited amount of stitchy time that I really don't want to waste it on like ripping out stitches, you know? Anyway, my next whip I'll show you. This is she is a Gold Collection Petite by Dimensions. She's gonna look like this. Absolutely stunning. As many may know, this piece is my nemesis. I'm using all the kitted materials, so 18 count Aida, but for some reason I'm continually making mistakes on this one. So I made the bad choice that I left a mistake in last time I worked on this. But I managed to figure, and I couldn't actually figure out where the mistake really was, but I managed to figure out where I had to rip out, and I managed to rip out just enough to fix it. So it's good again. I don't know how much of this is like just me making stuff up at this point, because there's a lot of fudging going on, but you really can't tell. Like, I think I've done a pretty good job. So there she is, working on the bottom half. I've got great progress. She's not even that big, but because I've had such poor luck with her, there's a general resentment, ongoing resentment with her. So, you know, I'm not giving up, but you know, I can only work on her for like a week at a time anyway before I make another mistake. Next, so my daughter's birthday happened, and for those of you who've been watching for a while, my daughter's birthday is it's kind of a tough day for me, because it's the day my dad died. It's been 2 years now. since he was killed by a drunk driver. It's been not good. Okay. I had to make sure that my dog wasn't like, there wasn't actually someone here. Okay, so my daughter's birthday is unfortunately also a tragic day. Now, for her birthday, we're not gonna like make it a sad day because she just turned 5. Like, get out of here. Like, so we celebrated her birthday, and then the next day we would normally, well, the year before, it's not a huge tradition. It's only been 2 years. My mom and I, we went and visited Dad's grave, but my cousin's wedding was the day after instead, so I went as my mom's +1. It was a lovely wedding. It was really fun and like it was a little bit of an alternative wedding, and I really had a good time. Anyway, because it was that time of year, I decided I would work on When Life is Done by Silver Creek Samplers. And this is just such a beautiful piece, and I love the sentiment behind it. It's my memorial piece for Dad. I forget what exact fabric this is, but it looks like a 32, which means it's some kind of a Atomic Ranch. I've done 2 Fabric of the Months. I've done Atomic Ranch, and I did a Picture This Plus. And I just got neutrals, so like, this girl has a big supply of neutrals. If it's 36 count, it's a Picture This Plus. If it's a 32, it's Atomic Ranch. Anyway, this is my progress on that piece. And yeah, it's not as much, it doesn't look like as much, because I started working on the actual motifs instead of just the words, and I was going back and forth. I almost ran out of the color for the words, and it's also the color of this right here, this like stem trunk. I don't know if that's really a tree. It's kind of small for a tree, big for a regular plant. I don't know. Anyway, so I kind of wasn't using the color as much, which is why I started working on the lady instead, and why the random leaves. I normally wouldn't just do leaves like that, you know, but it made sense to me. So that's what I did. And yeah, it was nice to work on this one. It's a really nice piece, even if it's sad. I mean, obviously. Okay, lastly, this is the piece I've been working on the most. This is my current focus piece, and the one, I don't know, I guess it's the one that has the most progress? I think so. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This one is by Stitch Rovia. It's called A Pirate Sleeps Here. I'm working on it for my son, and this is my progress as of today. Today is March 8th, but who knows when I'll actually post this. So yeah, doing great. I'm happy with my progress. That letter P took forever. Giant P. Like, woo, that took a long time. And then in comparison, this progress on the I has only taken me 2 days. So I think the rest of the letters are going to go faster, at least. My plan for this one is I'm going to move over as far as I can with the Q-snap. I didn't quite make it to the bottom of the piece. If I was a little more daring, shall we say, I might make it almost to the bottom, but I figured this was a good spot, like level to stop, you know? And I'm just going to do as much of this piece as I can do in the Q-snap. I'm currently debating, so I'm planning on getting smaller horizontal scroll bars for my scroll frame, because as you may have seen, I got giant ones. They're huge. It's just not very practical. I'm happy I got those because they're big enough for my chatelaine and they're big enough for my really long Halloween piece. So it honestly was not a poor decision. However, I think it would be nice to get a much smaller, a shorter set for specifically Celtic Summer, because at some point I'm going to need to bead her, and she's on a fat quarter and she fits really well on a fat quarter. So I was thinking a size for a fat quarter going portrait would make sense. I think this one might be a little too big technically for that. I'm currently debating. I'm planning on doing this purchase, but I'm not going to do this purchase until a little bit later in the month. I like to spread out purchases, you know. So I'm thinking about it, basically. I don't know exactly what size I'm actually going to get, and if this will actually fit on said scroll bars. My thought process is so one of the issues I typically have is when I move things around on the scroll frame, on the Q snap, I use the felt, right, so that it won't squish the stitches. But it seems like even though I put felt in between, I always get squished stitches. I also try to take it off, at least the side that's like, you know, covering stitches off. But consistently there's squish stitches, and I haven't found a way to fix squish stitches, and I don't like it. It's not something that's gonna like ruin the entire piece for me, but it does bug me. I don't like it. So I'm trying to think about what to do. I'm thinking either try to fit it on the scroll bars, on the scroll frame, or I might consider stitching it, taking this one out, and when I move it, just leaving it off, because this is a pretty strong, this particular scroll, I keep saying scroll frame, this particular Q snap is pretty good. And I think that, and also this fabric, it's 28 count Monaco, which is thick. That stuff is like thick and pretty sturdy. So I think it'll still have enough tension, even if I leave this one undone. I think everywhere else will have enough tension, and it should work out. We're going to see. I'm going to try. We'll find out. I'll obviously update you guys and let you know what method works the best for me. So that's everything I've worked on for like the past however many months it's been. Like I said, you're probably only going to get updates from me every 2 to 3 months, because I work primarily on one project. I do it for 3 weeks at a time. And then I take a 1 or 2 week break depending on if I still have ornaments that I'm stitching. I gotta figure something else out for ornaments, because like they're killing me. Because I just can't seem to stitch ornaments fast enough. I do have one, but there's a little bit of a story behind this one. So my husband's aunt was talking to me and asked me if I was interested in some embroidery thread. And I think, I should remember the story better, but I think it came from somebody, someone she didn't like know well per se, but she had a connection to somebody who had passed away. And sorry, I'm getting messages. No one ever messages me. Anyway, she had embroidery. She offered me the embroidery thread, as she called it. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And what I kind of figured was that it was probably not quite my thing, like something that I would actually use. I had no idea what it actually was, but I figured, you know what? I can figure out the right place for it to go, right? Like, at the very least, it was worth checking out. Well, it ended up being an absolute treasure trove of specialty floss. Overdyes. So I don't think there's any silks in here, but there's beautiful overdyed cottons, and oh my god, I lucked out on this one. Yeah! I never am the person who gets the good deals like this. I'm so happy, and like, they're beautiful. So we've got some gentle arts in here. A ton of colors. And there's also some weeks. And then there's a lot of 6-strand sweets, hand-dyed by Jessica Burr. There's a lot of these, and they're all so beautiful, and I am just over the moon because I'll actually use these. And like, you know how sometimes people will actually like sub out like overdyes, like they'll sub out the DMC for overdyes, and I'm like, I just don't have that kind of a collection, you know what I mean? Pretty much all of mine are things that I got specifically for a project. Well, I could do it now if I wanted to, with all of these gorgeous threads. And I figure it'll also be perfect for the next time I like go to retreats or something. I can have some goodies to give to people. I'm so happy. I really lucked out there. What an absolute treat. I was very thankful. Like when Eric, my husband, handed me the box, he was like, oh yeah, Aunt Debbie had this for you. I looked in there, I looked and I was like, ah! Like I freaked out and I was like hopping up and down, like I was doing a whole thing about it. I was so excited and I told her because, that was really, really kind of her. So yeah, let's see, life update. The anniversary of my father's death happened, as well as my daughter's 5th birthday. Things have overall been good. I don't even remember what I've told you guys. There is a potential large life change that's coming for me, and it should be good. I mean, I think it'll be good no matter what, but I can't really talk about it yet. I'm not pregnant. I'm not trying to get pregnant. There's no babies involved. Just thought I'd get it out there. But there is something big that's potentially going to happen. I don't feel comfortable talking about it like super publicly, well, on the internet at this point. But if you happen to see me soon, and I am going to a Stitchy Day later this month, feel free. We can talk about it. You can ask, and I'll talk about it. I'm happy to talk about it. It's not something I should talk about, like, in a video yet. I'll talk about another stitching thing. So right now, or at least what I've traditionally always done is I don't start a new piece until I finish another piece, which I think is overall sensible. I've traditionally liked to keep a smaller amount of whips. I like to do that because I like to be able to work on all my whips fairly regularly. And also, the idea of having whips that only have a few stitches in them really stresses me out. Now, I want to clarify that if you're somebody who does that, I am not judging you. This is a judgment-free zone. I think we should all enjoy our hobby the way that we want to, and whatever makes you happy is legitimate and awesome. In my personal case, if I'm going to I try to make sure that all my whips have a decent amount of progress in them. Like, I don't feel comfortable just starting something, putting 5 stitches and putting it away. That's just not my personal speed, not my style. But it has hit a point where I have so many kitted up projects, and I have so many charts, and I have all this and all that. And it's like, I'm not actually, I just never seem to start anything because it takes a while for me to get finishes. And I don't know. I think I'm ready to have more whips is what I've been thinking about, because I do the whole focus project thing and then I take a break from said focus project. I think I'm kind of okay having more whips, because as long as they all have a sufficient amount of progress. So I think I'm going to start things maybe. So I kind of rotate through my non-focus whips. Specifically the ones that aren't like a specific season or holiday. The season and holiday, I just work on them when it's that time of year. But the stuff that I rotate through is my other whips, I typically have 3 of them at any given time. And right now, I've kind of set aside my chatelaine. Now, I'm going to get back to that. Okay, don't worry. I am not giving up on the chatelaine. It's not... I worked on it for quite a while and I need a break, you know? Anyway, but I'm not going to rotate the chatelaine like everything else because I'm going to explain at some point, maybe the next video, how I'm going to work the whole chatelaine situation. But anyway, I was thinking that maybe after I rotate through twice on all of my current whips, that I would start a new whip at the end. Have a new start. I think twice would be enough, that I would have enough progress in the piece that it'll have enough progress that I feel okay starting something else again. Because at that point it will have been worked on 3 times, because there's when I start it, right? That's one. And then I rotate through, and then it gets worked on a second time. And then I rotate through one more time, and it gets worked on a third time. And then that's when I would start another new piece, right? So I think that's what I'm going to do from here on out. I actually plan on doing 2 new starts soon, which is very unusual for me. I would like to start something at the end of this month. I want to do it a little bit differently than I usually do. I normally just grab the flosses that I'm going to be using for my pieces, and I put them in a floss box, a smaller one. But this one is a very large piece. It's going to have a lot of colors, and I think I would actually prefer to use a floss card or a project card instead. I know I could do floss drops, but I kind of like the idea. I've used it before, a card that, you know, it has holes on both ends and you can write down what colors, and just do a strand of each color. I think I'm going to do that this time. And I think that's going to be a good fit for this project. So that I'm planning on starting at the end of this month. Sorry, this month. And then at the end of, or sometime in May, I think I'm just going to start something else. Like, because this other project's going to be big. And I'd like to start something like more medium to small sized. I don't know what yet. I haven't picked something. I have to like make a decision. So that's probably enough talking about cross stitch for now. I did not eat breakfast today, and I should eat something. It's almost lunchtime. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you, hopefully in a couple months. If in the meantime, I will be doing book videos, and I don't know if I'm ever going to do other kinds of videos. You probably won't see gardening ones this year. That's something I'll talk about when I can. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well. And if you actually watched this whole entire thing, could you give me like a rainbow emoji? Because we're approaching spring and rainbows make me happy. All right, hope you're all doing well.